Hmm? We discussed about OOPS concepts, right? Okay. So how many ways we can create a class in JavaScript? How many ways we can create a class in JavaScript? Two ways. One is like, okay, functional classes. Another one is like class keyword classes. Class keyword classes. Okay. So if it is like a functional class, how we can add members into that class? How we can add members into that class? By using current object this or not, by using current object this. Okay, I want to show you something like this. Okay, inspect it, go to console. See, I have a function. I have a function f1, fn. Listen careful. Okay, now console dot log of this. If I write like this, what's my answer? If I write like this, what's my answer? If I write like this, what's my answer? My this is pointing to what? Window. Perfect. You're right. Okay. Now I am using like a function. My fn I am using like a function. So my this is pointing to window. If I use like this, if I use like this, now I'm using fn like a functional, like a class, like a class. That means you created an object for which class? You created an object for which class? Fn class. So my fn class object gets created or not? See, in this object, is there any members or there? Is there any members or there? Did you find any members? No members or not. So it's an empty object created or not. So my this is pointing to empty object now. So if you want to keep some data, how we can keep it? This dot n1 equals to something. This dot location equals to something, like that or not. That the reason you understood right now. Why I kept okay members inside the current object. This you got point, right? If it is like a class, my this is pointing to my class object. See this fn object, not window. See here, window object. Here fn object or not. Observe, see the difference. Window object. Okay, here fn object. Now this particular fn object, which contains how many members? At this moment, there is no members. So if you want to keep the members inside this object, how we can? By using dot notation, by using square bracket notation. That's the reason. Okay, yesterday I written like this. If I want to use this one like a class, my this is pointing to this fn. No, inside the fn, I want to keep some data like this. Yes, sir. This dot, this dot sum is equals to function. Okay, now here return this dot n1 plus this dot n2. So here why I use like this dot n1? Inside the object I kept like three members, n1 n2 sum. If you want to retrieve the data from the object, how we can retrieve? By using dot notation only, right? I can retrieve it. So that this dot n1, this dot n2. Got my point? Here you inserted the data. This dot n1 you inserted with 10. No, this dot n2 we inserted 20. This dot sum you inserted a function. But this one inserting or retrieving? This one. Return this dot n1. Inserting or retrieving? Retrieving or not. Okay, no problem. Say this. Can I put the debuggers? Yes. Can I put the debugger here also? Yes. Okay. Can I call new fn like this? Can I create an object? Can I create an object? Now say this. If I create an object, my this is pointing to my own object. See this fn object, not window. Now you inserted one property inside my fn object. See my this. See my this. N1 property added or not? This dot n2, one more property added or not? This dot sum, one more property added or not? So my this contains how many members now? Come on, my fn object contains how many members? 3 members it contains or not? It contains 3 members. All okay? Agreed? Okay, then. Now, if you want to retrieve, now my this contains three members like this. If you want to retrieve sum, how we can retrieve it? Come on, where obj is this one. Where obj is this one. If you want to retrieve sum, okay, how we can retrieve? Obj dot sum. Obj dot sum. Okay, obj dot sum or not. It is a function. So can we call it? Okay, now see my this which contains three members. How we can retrieve the data? This dot n1, then I can get like 10. This dot n2, then I can get like 20 or not. All are okay? Yes, sir. Now in the console, okay, if I write like this, what is my answer? Window na my own object. My own object. Why? Why my own object? Why my own object in this case? Why my own object? Why means you are in the debugging mode. You are in the debugging mode. You are in the debugging mode. My execution stopped in which function? In this particular function, some function. Now my console is pointing to this function or not? My console scope is pointing to this function or not? In this function, this is pointing to window, not this is pointing to fn object. If you are in the debugging mode, my console is pointing to that particular function only. So my sum is now, my debugger, that means my execution stopped in my sum function. So my console is pointing to some function. In my sum function, my this is pointing to what? My this is pointing to fn. So my console also, my this is pointing to fn only or not? Why? My console is pointing to that particular function now. If we are in the debugging mode, once my come out from the debugging mode, now there is no mask, nothing. Now my this is pointing to what? Actual window or not? We discussed it, right? Whenever you are in the debugging mode, my console is pointing to that particular function. All okay? Yes or no? Agreed with me? Yes or no? Okay, then. This is the way you can create a class. This is the way you can create a class and you can access the members of a class. Access the members of a class. Debugger, if you want to see the execution flow line by line, you can put the debugger. Okay, if not, just remove that one. That is not an issue. Debugger keyword is not a mandatory one. To see the execution flow, then you can go with this. Okay. Can you go with the class keyword class? Start. How we can? Class name. Arithmetic is my class name. Next. Come on. Now, next one. Next one. Class keyword class. I want the members. Directly you can write it. N1 equals to 10. Okay. N2 equals to 20. Okay. Next, sum is a function. Sum is a function. So here, return, if it is an object, inside this object, how we can retrieve the data? This dot n1 plus this dot n2 or not. Got my point? So how we can access the members of a class? How we can access the members of a class? How we can access the members of a class? By creating an object. So my var obj equals to new arithmetic. Done. See my obj. See my obj. Okay. See my obj. Okay, something is missing. How many members are there? Tell me. How many members are there? In my class, how many members are there? 3 members are there, but it is showing like 2 members only, right? Only variables it's showing, methods not showing. Okay, where the method is, I will tell. Don't worry about that one. Got my point? Okay. Now, see, if you want to 10, how we can retrieve it? obj dot n1. If you want 20, obj dot n2. Obj dot sum, there or not there? See, it is not visible, but it is there or not. It is not visible in my object, but indirectly that is available in my object or not. Yes or no? If it is not there, it's supposed to give like undefined, but it gives me exact output or not, expected output or not. It is not visible here. Somewhere it is placed or not. Somewhere my sum is available to my obj or not. Yes, sir. Here I want to discuss one point. See, inside the class, if you want to access the members, okay, the object reference is what? Come on, inside the class. This, right? Outside the class, if you want to access the members, okay, this is my obj or not, object or not. So inside the class or outside the class, if you want to access the members, object is mandatory or not? Yes or no? Inside the class or outside the class, if you want to access the class members, object is mandatory or not? Inside the class, how we can represent that object? Inside the class, how we can represent the object? By using the predefined variable this or not. Inside the class, if you want to represent the class object, how we can represent? By using this. Outside the class, how we can represent the object? That is a variable that can be any name or not. Got my point? If you want to access the class members, object is required. Okay, that is like inside the class or outside the class. Inside the class, if you want to access the members, okay, the object name is this. Outside the class, if you want to access the members, the object name is your name. Okay, obj, a, b, x, y, your wish. All are okay with me? So object is mandatory to access the members or not? That is the point. Object is mandatory to access the members of a class or not? Inside the class, that is this. Outside the class, your variable. That's it. Okay, na? All are okay? Yes, sir. Okay, where is sum? I will tell. All are okay? Okay, then perfect. The next one. Listen carefully. What's my answer? What is my answer? What is my answer? Perfect. Not a number. Why not a number, Nana? Why not a number? Very simple. See, you created an object, obj.sum. So it is called, okay, in this particular object, n1 is there. So 10. In this object, n2 there or not there? In the object, n2 there or not there? In the object, n2 is not there. In the object, one property is not there. What is my default value? In the object, one property is not there. The default value is what? Undefined. Not a number here. Undefined. Okay, now this dot n1 is like a 10 plus this dot n2 is undefined. 10 plus undefined is what? Answer. 10 plus undefined. What is the answer? Not a number or not? Not a number or not? Got my point? Okay, but I needed expected output is like 30. I want the expected output is like 30. Then the time, what change is required? Here you can place like this dot n2 equals to 20. Like this, you can declare it. But this is, okay, not your code. Some other person written. Here, you are not the person to change it. Think like that. You are not the person to do the change. Still I required, still I needed Okay, the value is like what? Output is like what? 30. Declare outside. So how we can declare outside? Okay, where n2 equals to 20. Okay, then can I call my obj.sum? Obj.sum? Where is that? Where is that? Okay, means very simple. If you want to get the expected output is like 30, this arithmetic class requires what? First now tell me. This arithmetic class requires what? One variable or not? Agreed? If you want to get okay, the expected value 30, this particular arithmetic class requires one variable n2 with the value of 20 or not. Then only, right, you can get the expected output is like 30. Yes or no? Come on, come on. So my class requires some members from outside or not? Yes or no? My class requires some members. In this case, n2, but in future, I don't know. My class requires some members from outside or not? How one class get the members from outside? That is possible through inheritance. That is possible through inheritance. I can get some members from outside into my class. I can get some members from one class to another class, or another class, some other, leave it. I want some members from outside into my class. Okay, which class? Arithmetic class or not? My arithmetic class requires some members from outside. All are okay? Agreed? Come on, come on. Okay, that is possible through which concept? That is possible through which concept? Inheritance or not? Now my question is how we can handle the inheritance in my functional classes. That is the question or not? If you want to handle the inheritance in functional classes, we have one property is there. Prototype is the property. By using that prototype property, we can make outside members available or inject into your class. So shall we check it? How we can? Okay, which member is required? Come on, which member is required? N2. With which value? Which member is required? N2. With which value? 20. Okay, that those inputs you have, you required. So those inputs you have. So shall we? So which class requires the members from outside? Come on, arithmetic. Okay, through inheritance, I want the members from outside. So which property is there? Prototype is the property. Prototype is the property. Which member you want me to inject? Which member? N2. With which value you want me to inject? 20. That's it. Now can I call my obj.sum now? Working? Come on. It is available or not? Okay, perfect. My expected output should be minus 10. 10 minus 20 minus 10. At this moment, tell me what is my exact value, output, exact output. If I click on enter, what is my output? Exact error message, exact error message. Any one of you. Any one of you, exact error message. If you really understand my concept so far, what we discussed, you have to tell the exact error message. Exact error message, error only, error message. No one person at least one person. Okay, no problem. Okay, at least now tell me. Now tell me. OBJ contains how many members? Now, OBJ contains how many members? 3 members. What are those? N1, sum, N2. N2, N1 and some own members. N2 is like inherited member. So total members, how many? 3 members. So among those 3, obj.sub there or not there? Obj.sub there or not there? Not there. So what is my value of obj.sub? Obj.sub value is what? Inside the object, one property is not there. What is the value? Undefined. Undefined. Think. Okay, undefined. Undefined is the value. Okay. If it is like a braces like this value should be what? If you see somewhere these braces like this, the prefix value should be what? Function. Function. Now, my prefix value is what? The actual value is what? Undefined. Expected value is what? Function. Is my undefined is a function? Huh? Is my undefined is a function? Is not a function, right? Undefined obj.sub is nothing but undefined, is not a function or not? Huh? Yes or no? Come on. Okay, don't worry, no problem at all. Okay, then my output should be what? My output is what? My output should be what? -10. So what code snippet you require here? If you want the output is like -10, okay, first I required a sub function. See this, by seeing this one, I required a sub function inside my class or not? Inside my class or not? How we can? I required a sub function inside the class or not? Come on, I want to inherit the sub function into my class. Okay, let's start. Obj not, right? Arithmetic. Yeah, which class requires the members from outside? Arithmetic requires the members from outside. Then which property? Which property is there? Prototype. Prototype. Which method? Okay, which member is required? Sub. My sub is which type? See this, the way of using sub is which type? My sub should be what? A function. So can we assign a function now? Yes, sir. Okay, now it should returns what? It should returns what? My this dot n1 minus this dot n2 or not? Agreed with me? One. Now can I call my obj.sub? My answer is what? -10 or all are okay? All are okay? Okay, perfect. Okay, so far in my class, how many members are there? So far in my class, how many members are there? 4 members are there. 4 members. Okay, 4 members. Okay, what are those? Own members are what? Own members are what? N1 sum. N1 sum. Inherited members are what? N2 sub. Own members are like N1 sum. Inherited members are like what? Own members are like N1 sum. Inherited members are like what? Inherited members are like what? N2 sub or not? So my question is, where I can see those inherited members? It is not visible in the object. Okay, it is not visible in the class also. See this, class is like actual definition. Where I can see means very simple. Those members added as a what? Added as a inherited member. So I can see arithmetic dot prototype. If I click on enter, I can see your inherited hidden members or not. Yes, sir. Inherited. Okay, inherited members you can see or not? Now tell me, N2 I inherited. Okay, sub I inherited. Okay, but who inherited this member? Who inherited this member? Come on. Who inherited this member? Am I inherited? Am I written anywhere the code is like arithmetic.prototype.constructor equals to function like that? Am I inherited? No, right? So can I say each and every class by default one member got inherited? That particular member called as a constructor. This member type is what? My constructor is which type? My constructor is which type? See this n2 is like 20. Sub f is nothing but a function. Constructor also which type? A function type or not? Yes, sir. In JavaScript, any class you can take it, either functional or it's a class keyword class. There has one member inherited into that particular class. That member name is what? Constructor or not? All are okay? Come on. Hey, 1 minute. Yeah, I'm back. Okay, then let's go with the another one. Let's take like a class keyword class now. A class keyword class now. Here I have a function f1. Okay. If I create an object for my class, okay. See, my object contains what? My object contains what? Okay. My variables are visible. Okay. Variables are visible here, but my functions are not visible, right? My functions are not visible, right? Okay, but still I'm able to access the function or not? See, obj.f1, I'm able to access it or not? Yes or no? I'm able to access it or not? Where I can see the members now? Where I can see the hidden members now? Come on. Where I can see the hidden members now? Come on, where I can see the hidden members now? In a class keyword class, all the functions they keep inside the prototype. Inside the prototype. See this? Okay, my f1 function there are not there. Okay, inside this class also, my constructor got inherited or not? Inside this function also, my constructor got inherited or not? Agreed with me? All are okay? Okay, inheritance is nothing but, okay, acts, okay, get the members from one class into another class. Okay, simply get the properties into my class from another class or some other way, like this prototyping. Okay? Okay, then. Can anyone answer this?
Recording in
So my
progress.
arithmetic contains how many members now? My arithmetic contains how many members now? It is not a prototyping. Okay, arithmetic contains how many members? Two members. Two members are visible or not? Okay, now can I call my sum? As usual, you can call my sum now. Yes, sir. Everyone agreed? Everyone agreed? Okay, so you can get the members into my class keyword class two ways. One is like through prototyping, you can make the member is available to your class. That is one way. Okay, get the member through inherit the members from one class into my class or not. From my A class into my arithmetic class by using extends keyword or not. All are okay. So for good. Okay, let me do the slide change. Let me do the slide change. Tell me. First of all, it is valid or invalid? My class keyword class extends the members from another class. That another class is what? Class keyword class or functional class? That another class is what? Class keyword class or functional class? It is a functional class or not? So if I click on this one, okay, don't worry. Okay, refresh the page. Okay, now see this. Okay, 100% valid. My class keyword class extends the members from either class keyword class or either functional class also or not. My functional class, okay, my functional class now contains which member? N2 member. So can I create an object where obj is equals to what? New arithmetic o dot sum. Working or not? Working or not? Yes or no? Okay, here two classes are there, na? So my arithmetic class get the members from another class, right? So my arithmetic class is like a children class. My A class is like a parent class. My arithmetic class is like a subclass. My A is like a super class. My arithmetic class is a base class. My A is a derived class. Like that, any terminology you can use it. Arithmetic is a children. A is a parent. Arithmetic is a sub. A is a super. Arithmetic is a derived. A is a base. Arithmetic is derived. A is a base class. Got my point? But extends keyword always work with class keyword children classes only. Okay, if I change functional class here, arithmetic class here, extends keyword will work with functional children classes. Okay, extends keywords will work with functional keyword classes, functional classes. No, will never work. Never work. So extends, okay, my class keyword class only. Okay, the children classes always, if you use extends means my children class should be what? Class keyword class. My parent class can be either class keyword class, either functional class. It is not a matter. All are okay. You got some idea what is inheritance? Can we use prototype then for parent function instead of class? Prototype you can use for both. No problem at all. Prototype you can use for functional classes as well as class keyword class also. No problem at all. No problem at all. Okay, but extends keyword always works with class keyword classes only. The children should be a class keyword class. Okay. Okay then. The next thing. Constructor. Okay, each and every class inherited with one member, right? What is that member? Each and every class inherited with one member, right? What is that member? Each and every class inherited with one member. Okay, if you write like variables and methods based on your requirement, you can write it. Each and every class inherited with one member, that is constructor, right? That is constructor. Okay, when that particular constructor is going to execute that function, okay, by default available, when that particular function is going to execute, what that functionality, what is the functionality it is handled in that particular constructor function? That is the question. Okay, then now I have a class. Okay, this is my functional class. Inside this class, there has n1 equals to 10. There has n2 equals to 20. N2 equals to, there has a sum is there. It is a function. It is a function. Okay, that console.log of this dot n1 plus this dot n. This dot n1 plus this dot n2. Okay, this is my class. Okay, can I create an object? Where obj equals to new arithmetic. Perfect. Okay, now if you come here, if I create a functional class, okay, simple class you can create. Function arithmetic. Okay, no members, nothing is there. Arithmetic already there, so that refresh, everything got reset. If I create an object, okay, new arithmetic, new arithmetic. If I create an object, it's like a new arithmetic. Now my arithmetic dot prototype, if you observe, prototype is observed. Okay, now say this constructor, observe here. Okay, it is what? Come on, which function? This is which function? This is which function? Come on, this is which function? This is which function? Arithmetic function only or not? Arithmetic function only or not? So let me do one thing. This is the console.log of, okay, just called. Okay, now if I create an object like this, see what happened? Which method called? It created an object is okay. Which method called? See this. Which method called? Which method called? My arithmetic function called or not? Say this. Come on. At the time of creating an object, one function called. Which function? Arithmetic function only called or not? Arithmetic function only called or not? But arithmetic function is what here? My arithmetic dot prototype, if you observe, arithmetic function is what here? Say this. Arithmetic function is a constructor or not? So my constructor, when it is going to execute, my constructor, when it is going to execute, at that time of create an object for the class or not. If you create an object for that particular class, my constructor will execute or not. But here, the thing is, the class and the constructor both are like same or not? Arithmetic only acting like a class. Arithmetic only acting like a constructor function only or not? Yes or no? Come on. It plays two roles. Okay, arithmetic only a class. Arithmetic only acting like a constructor also. That's the reason these functions, what we can say, no, constructor functions also, constructor classes also, we can say like this. My functional classes, we can say like a constructor classes also. Got my point? Yes or no? Hello, okay. Okay, now yes, at the time of creating an object, okay, my constructor got executed. Yes or no? So at the time of creating an object, my constructor got executed. So what my constructor is going to do? My constructor is a function. What kind of code they return? What kind of functionality it is handled means, okay, whenever the constructor executed, its first thing is like it allocate the space. Okay, at the time of creating an object, okay, by using new operator, my constructor is going to call. By using new operator, if you call, it is going to allocate the space for your object first. Okay, what my constructor is going to do is, see, by using new operator, whenever you create an object, by using new operator, okay, it allocates some space for that particular class members, pointing with what? pointing with this name. So my obj pointing to this particular space or not now? Yes or no? By using a new operator, if you create an object, it allocates some space, allocates some new space for this particular class member, for this particular class members. Okay, for that particular class, you can say. Okay, then after that, okay, this one called, what is this one? My constructor. Okay, once my constructor called, what my constructor is going to do, you know? My constructor first looking for the, okay, variables inside the class. How many variables are there inside the class? How many variables are there inside the class? Two variables are there. Two variables. Okay, one method. Total members 3. Variables how many? Two variables, right? Two variables. Okay, my constructor take those two variables and allocate the memory for those variables. Allocate the memory for those variables and perform initialization. Okay, allocate the memory for which one? N1. Allocate the memory for which one? N2. Allocate the memory for N1 variable. Allocate the memory for N2 variable and keep the values inside the memory. N1 contains what? 10. No? My N2 contains what? 20 or not. Yes or no? So by using new operator, if you create an object, it allocates the space for that particular class. Whenever my constructor executed, my constructor is going to take the variables and allocate the memory for the variables and perform initialization or not. Now, if anybody want this 10, first you have to reach this space or not. That space is occupied with, is pointing with what? OBJ. First reach OBJ. From there, reach N1, then the time you can get the output is like 10 or not. Yes or no? If you want N2, first reach this space OBJ and go to my N2 or not. Yes or no? Got the point? So what my constructor is going to do? My constructor is going to allocate the memory for the variables to perform initialization or not. By performing initialization or not. Yes or no? Whenever you create an object by using new operator, it allocates a space for my class. Okay, what my constructor is going to do next? Once my space is allocated, my constructor is going to take the variables and allocate the space for the variables and perform initialization. If it is there, and perform initialization. If it is not there, okay, the default values it is going to keep. All are okay with me? What my constructor is going to do? Agreed or not? All are agreed? Okay. Okay then. Okay, methods are going to execute in this particular space. That's it. Okay, it's not allocate the memory for the methods. Okay, why? Because method is not required for me. Method just handle some functionality by using the variables only, right? Any method you can take. Okay, it is going to handle some functionality on my data only, right? On my data only, right? Got my point? If you return anything, then that time you can hold with one variable again. Okay, that particular variable got initialized again. Allocate the memory for that particular variable again. Got my point? Okay, any questions, anyone? Okay, anyone have any questions? You can unmute and you can talk for 5 minutes. Anyone have any questions? You can unmute and you can talk for 5 minutes.
No, sir.
Yeah.
సార్ ఇప్పుడు ఫంక్షన్ లో మనం ఎందుకు సార్ ప్రాపర్టీస్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్స్ మెన్షన్ చేయాలంటే దిస్ డాట్ అని పెడతాము, క్లాస్ లో అయితే ఎందుకు సార్ మామూలుగా N1 అని చెప్తుంది సార్?
In the class keyword class, we can declare like members two ways. One is like static variable. Now what we discussed, it's a static variable. Directly we can write like this. It's a kind of syntax to create a static variable.
Okay,
We can write like this.
Okay, in function.
Okay. By using this also you can do it in the constructor. Okay, the constructor discussion not yet done in the arithmetic class keyword class. Okay, at that time you can see. Okay, so far you declared this one as a static variable.
Okay, sir. In function, sir, this that we say.
That kind of thing is not there. If you put like this, then that it's like a global variable. It's turned to be. It's not a class member.
Okay.
Function class, it should be inside current object this only.
మళ్ళీ ఫంక్షన్ అయితే మనం దిస్ డాట్ అని రెఫర్ చేస్తాం కదా సార్.
Yes, yes.
Hello, sir. Sagar. Sir, construction is act like a function, right? Because
Yes.
okay. And whenever, sir, whenever we
Create
pass
an object. Whenever we
create-
create an object, then that time that constructor is going to call and allocate the space for the variables and perform initialization.
right. In that case, sir, if we are writing console.log,
Yeah.
then it will be goes to the constructor because we are not writing any particular method. Till then, it gets executed.
Yeah, this one, right? It's an arithmetic class. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, whatever you written the statements, directly those statements got executed when at the time of creating an object.
Right, sir. So this statement inside in the constructor.
Inside the constructor. Yes, called. You're asking.
Yes, right. I'm asking this function is inside the constructor.
Now, see this function arithmetic. This is the class. Okay, here. Okay, this dot n1 is there 10. Okay, this is the one. This dot f1 equals to function like this. Okay, console dot log of fn. Okay, now if I create an object for this particular one, new arithmetic, then what happened? First, allocate the space and execute the constructor is nothing but this function called. Okay,
Right.
whenever this function called, whatever the statements are there, those statements will execute. Okay, okay, those statements will execute. First statement is this one execute, and the second one is what? Object already created. In the object, you push what? N1 variable.
Yes.
In the object, you push what? Fn function.
Function. Right.
Got my point?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, once my constructor executed, okay, it is allocate the space for the n1. Okay, and initialized with what? 10.
10.
Okay. Now this function got created.
Yes.
Okay. If you want to access, okay, same story. n1
N1.
by using dot notation, by using square bracket notation.
Okay.
Got my
Okay.
point?
Got.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
So, what is the pros and cons in object destructuring?
Object destructuring.
Destructuring, yes, sir.
Object destructuring pros and cons. What I can say. One is like performance wise. This is like a ES6 concept. Performance wise, comparing with the normal syntax, it's like object. Okay, retrieving purpose, you are using like syntax, right? Obj or something like that. Okay, performance wise, it is like better than that. Okay, that one we can say. The next one, what I can. Okay, I will check and let you know. I'm not sure exactly that.
Okay, sir.
Sir, when can we use function class and when can we use the class keyword class?
This one. Okay, now if you are like ES6 concepts, if you want to use it, then that time you can go with class keyword class. Okay, but before ES6, okay, all classes are like functional classes only. That means JavaScript people already written the code, right? Whatever they written, okay, those people written as a functional classes only. For example, if you take anything, okay, one new class you can take it. Okay, for example, here XML HTTP request is there. Now see this. This is what predefined one. Okay, they created like a functional class. Whatever the JavaScript predefined things are there before ES6, okay, they created all like a functional classes only. Okay, nowadays, if you want to create a class, just you can go with the class keyword class.
Okay.
What if function is accepting the arguments? Does the constructor also will accept the arguments?
Yes. Okay, if it is like taking like some arguments, then that time you have to pass those arguments here.
Okay, but you said in JavaScript there is no method overloading concept, no sir.
Okay, here there is no overloading, right? Directly you are calling, right? Is it not kind of overloading? loading, right? You are calling a function by passing two arguments. You are holding those two arguments here or not? Are you passing like instead of 10, okay, instead of 10, 20, 30, 40, not like that, right? You know, okay, how many arguments, that many arguments you can pass it here.
Okay, okay.
Got my point?
Sir, but I observed this class concept is the old one. Everyone will be using the function only, right?
Which one? Class concept means?
Yeah. See, now we are creating the objects using the class we are declaring and using.
Mhm.
And wherever we are seeing JavaScript and React, we are using the functional components only, no, sir? Like
So
creating a
components
function.
they are
Then
using, but hoops concept is common for all, right? Without hoops concepts, what code you can write? These are not related to class components in React. This is like hoops concepts in programming language. Got my point?
yeah.
Hello, sir. Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, I am trying to send 3 to 4 days message mail, sir. You cannot give any reply.
Which one? Which mail? What is the question?
So questions are shorthand syntax, sir. About it.
Shorthand syntax. What shorthand syntax? You want me to explain? You want me to explain again?
So what is shorthand syntax, or how you to use?
Shorthand syntax is this one only, right? For example, I have an object is there. Okay, if you write like this, okay, this is called as a shorthand syntax. Object is contains what? Key value pairs, but here there is no key value pairs, right? Okay, if you see somewhere like this, if you see somewhere, okay, the syntax is like this, don't think like it is not an object. Okay, it is equals to what? It is equals to my key is like what? A, my value reference also A. My key is like what? B, my value reference also B, like that. Okay, this is equals to this one and this one both are like same. Instead of writing like this shorthand syntax. If the key and value references both are like same, then the time no need to go with key colon value property like this. This syntax no need.
Sir, in shorthand syntax, only object is used.
Only for object.
Only for object, no?
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Can you please explain the concept of debugging again? Like I'm not getting the debugging concept.
Hmm. Okay, pros and cons. Object destructuring. Just go through this one. Okay. You can say like performance wise that is like good. Is it like entry question or what? Somebody asked or what?
Yes, sir. I am searching destructuring and find pros and cons. So
What?
I did not understand what is it.
Can you paste it in the chart?
Okay, sir.
Okay, that is like okay. Merits and demerits kind of thing. Okay. What is the question? Next question. Somebody asked.
Sir, so do we have array destructuring as well?
Array destructuring, if it's like 10 comma 20, okay, 10 comma 20, okay, now you can hold the values of an array with some variables like this. That's it. This is destructuring, array destructuring. A value is like 10, B value is like 20.
Yeah. Okay, sir.
Okay.
Sir, can you please explain the concept of debugging again, sir?
Second, debugging, right?
Debugging, yes.
You can write a function f1. Okay, here you can write any number of statements. Okay, where n1 equals to 10. Where n1 equals to 10. The next one is like where n2 equals to 20. N2 equals to 20. Okay. Where is the where? where n1 equals to 10, where n2 unexpected token where. Whatever. Okay. 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 Now if you observe, I want to see, okay, the line by line execution. Then how we can see the line by line execution? How we can see the line by line execution? Okay, I can directly call it. Okay, I can get like 10, 20 answer. But I want to see the line by line execution. Then how? Okay, now come here, put the debugger. Put the debugger. Now you can call the function. Now see this? My execution stopped now. Line by line. Okay, n1. Okay, n1 variable created. What is my n1 value? 10 now. n2 variable gets created. What is my n2 value? 20. Okay, now my debugger pointing to f1. Inside the f1, I can use n1, n2, right? Now the debugger pointing to f1 function. So the same context. Okay, my console also pointing to the same context. Okay, that means my console is pointing to f1 context only. In the f1, I can access n1, n2. So my console also can access n1, n2 or not. Got my point? When it's possible in the debugging mode only. Once you come out from the debugging mode, can I access n1? No. Now my console is not pointing to that f1 context. Got my point?
But sir, what is the advantage of that? It is used for finding errors.
Obviously, right. Line by line execution, if it's like a big lines of more lines of code is there, I don't know where exactly it's like okay, broken. Line by line, you have to execute. Okay, in the real time, okay, it is very, very helpful. Debugging is very, very important.
Sir, can you explain like in coming lectures? Can you explain with the help of big example, like so things will be more clear?
First, go with these examples. So you only come to know. Okay, 2 lines of code is there. How to debug? 200 lines of code also same like that only. What is there in that?
Okay.
Got my point?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will go through it, sir. And if any problem comes, I will ping you, sir.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Sir, already sent pros and cons in your chat window.
Let me write. Let me.
Hello.
Yeah.
సార్ మనకి రియల్ టైంలో ఎలా యూజ్ అవుతాయి ఈ ప్రోగ్రామ్స్?
Each and every concepts we are going to use in our requirement based on our requirement. Okay, I will see that one. Okay, I will tell.
Okay.
Sir,
To write the code like a shorter and more readable, since it is allows you to bundle the variables inside one object that can access the individual elements another function without using the dot notation. Correct only, right? There is no need to put like every time dot notation, right? Object dot n, object dot l, no need to write, right? Just you can get individual variables or not. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Where obj equals to n1 is like 10, no? Okay, n2 is like 20 is there. N2 is like 20 is there. If you want to take it, obj dot n1, obj dot n2, this is the actual. But if I write like this, can I use the destructuring? Okay, if I write like this, directly I can use like n1 and n2. Did you use anywhere? Okay, dot notation?
No, sir.
No, right? Okay. Now, since it is allows us to set the default values, specific variables, it makes sure that code could not break in case of value is missing. Okay. For example, n3 is there. N3 is okay. N3 is not there. For example, if you try to access this n3, then the time it gives me an error here itself. Okay, it's going to throw. Okay, before only you can find it. Obj equals to n1 is like 10, n2 is like 20. Okay, constant. Okay, here obj, can I say like n1 comma n2 comma n3? Okay, what is my n1 value, n2 value, and n3 value? Okay, directly. Okay, once you can get this one, come back to ours. What is that? Allows us to set the default values for a specific variable. Okay, it makes sure the code does not break in case of value is missing. In case of value is missing, it makes sure the code does not break in case of value is missing. Since it allows to set the default values for the specific variables.
It set the default value as undefined, I think. So
defined for everything is like undefined only, right? Obj dot n3 also it's like undefined only.
Yes, sir.
You got my point? Okay, here also set like the value, variable value is like undefined only, the default one.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that is normal only.
Sir, class unda.
There is no class tomorrow. Okay, since we can assign the alias for different variables, it allows us to code the shorter and more robust file, ensuring the readability and the descriptive variable names. Okay, now it is also same, right? Since
Sir,
we can
please.
assign the alias for the different variables. Okay, can I say like this?
Sir, please stand this
Yeah.
also.
Oh, what is that?
Please stand.
You can give the alias name also for this particular one. Okay, so that it's like a readable. It's like an object destructuring. We can give the also. Alias name is nothing but some other different name you can give it. Some other name you can give it like this. So if it is like this, go to this. Okay. You can give some alias names. Okay, now say this n5 is like a 10. Okay, some readable names also you can give it. See this n1 value is like a okay, alias name I given like n5. Now n5 is like what, 10, right? You can give some alias names also.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that is the one. Now the next point is when using logic framework that pass object the function which is a lot of values, if we only need okay, one or more, okay, that is like common only. Okay, this one. For example, I have a function is there. I have a function f1 is there. Okay, listen careful. Okay. Now console.log of okay n1 comma n2 like this.
Yes, sir.
f1, if I write like this, where obj equals to n1 is like 10, n2 is like 20, n3 is like 30, like this. Okay, like this 100 variables are there, 100 properties are there. If I pass like f1 of obj, okay, these 100 properties are required, 2 properties only required.
2 properties.
2 properties only required. Okay, for that, okay, you can do like this. In my obj, just you can destructuring, you pass like one object, right? You can destructuring only n1 comma n2 values here. Required values only you can destructuring. Okay. Now if I pass like obj like this, then the time you can get like n1 value 10, n2 value 30 or not.
Yes, sir.
You got my point? Okay, there is no need to keep all the values. Okay, that
Sir,
is
about the ascent.
I will tell. Okay. You got my point? These 4 points.
Yes, sir.
Okay. If an object has a lot of variables, so it becomes very okay tedious and to destructuring it. In the case, okay, use the dot notation. In the case, use the dot notation. If the object contains one more object like this, somewhat like okay, what I can say, it's like hierarchy wise, object contains one more object like this, then the term destructuring is required more times, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then that case, it is not recommended, he said, but you can use it, no problem. Okay, in case of object different from what we expected and we don't account for that, it might result in bugs in the code. In the case of object is different from what we are expected, okay, and what we don't account for that, it might result in bugs in the code. In case an object is different from what was expected and we don't account for that. If the object is like different from what we expected, okay, that means this is like difficult when okay, this is an object, this is coming from outside. Okay, I don't know how many members are there, what are the keys, then that time can I manage that one? Can I count it? How many members? How many? If it is exactly I know, then the time I can destructuring like this, right? It can destructuring like this or not. Okay, n1 comma n2 like this. Okay, for that, what is inputs? What inputs are required? My keys are required or not? Yes or no? Object and keys. For example, this object contains how many members? Okay, expected values I don't know. Then that time is it possible to destructuring?
No, no, sir.
No. Right? Okay, in that case, there are some issues you can face. Okay.
Okay, okay.
Good.
Then actually, what is the full form of pros and cons? Actually,
Okay, merits and demerits you can say.
okay. Pros means merits.
Merits, yes.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Cons, yeah. Okay. Then. Okay, so the assignment is okay. This is an important thing. See, open the first page hello.html. Here, can you write the notes? Can you write the notes? Okay, see, this is the HTML comments. What you observed, what you understand. Okay, line 1 to line 26. What you understand about this code. Okay, can you write it line by line? First, okay, need for this particular program to run, how many libraries are required? What is the purpose of library? Yes. Okay, after that, we need the container. We need to declare a container to place your content. After that, I created class functional component which returns some JSX content. Okay, JSX content is like what? JSX stands for what? JavaScript and XML. Okay, JSX content should compile. Okay, that is compile with Babel. Like this, each and every line, what you understand, just write the notes for each and every program. That is only the assignment. Got my point? Own words. Own words. Got my point?
Okay, sir.
How many programs are there? Just write your own notes. Okay, below that program. Below that program like this. You can write it and send it to my email ID. Okay, already the notes updated. Just you can take it. Okay, already these all programs are there in our uijavakit.com. Just you can go through that. Okay. Okay, then thank you guys. Thanks for joining. Bye.